Hi, everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a live stream, and welcome to Monday evening here in Moscow, Russia. It's currently 6:45 p.m. right here where I am, and it's a beautiful day, or it has been a beautiful day. I was out filming a little bit earlier today, and I'm now back home. It's actually 20 degrees here in Moscow. Beautiful blue skies. Actually, it's a little bit cloudy now in the afternoon, but I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope a few people are able to join me for the live stream. I'm doing it a little bit earlier today. Well, I've done it at different times with different levels of success. So hopefully this works out better and a few people are here live. If you are live watching, put it in the comments, perhaps where you're from and maybe how the weather is outside. I'm curious how everything is going. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about the last couple of videos on the channel because perhaps I've just read a little bit on my Telegram chat and then a lot of comments about the Tesla Cybertruck. And I'm curious about everybody's interest in it. If you kind of found the video interesting, it's actually not performing too well in terms of views compared to the last 10 videos. YouTube likes to show you your statistics based on the last 10 videos that you've uploaded, not the whole history of the channel. You can kind of see it compared to others over the last 2 years, but yeah, it's sort of interesting, maybe because it's different content to previous videos. There's obviously not as much interest shown in it. Yeah. Some people are here. Hello, Fireflux. How's it going? And somebody has wrote in Russian already. Oh, Yevgeny. Hello. Good fella. Hello. Russ, how's it going? Good fella. Hello, Fireflux. Hello, and Yevgeny. My wife's name is Yevgenia. So, and also my cousin in Ufa is Yevgeny as well, and he was here last week, and it was always interesting when we were calling each other to chat to each other. We were saying the same name twice. So, I hope everybody who's here live, you don't have to chat in the comments, of course. I hope it's not too echoey in here. I've got the door open today because of the afternoon sun coming through. And you can actually see from the tiles or these bricks, the light kind of comes beaming through into this room. There's no window in here, but the point of these glass blocks is that it lets the light in. Yes, I'm married to Yevgenia, which is my wife, not Yevgeny in the chat. Alexander, hello. Здравствуйте from Yakutsk. Russell, I wonder what the weather is up there like at the moment compared to here. I probably could just go and look at the weather, right? I mean, but I like everyone to be a bit interactive in the chat. Thank you, whoever's put 12 thumbs up or likes for the live stream. Thank you so much. You love the glass blocks. Yeah, when we first came to look at this place, I mean, we already knew the layout of the apartment, based on the photos. We'd also previously lived in this layout of apartment twice before. So this is kind of the third time we've lived in this exact layout of apartment. We kind of like the fact that it's got a separate bedroom here. We've actually got, it's a sofa bed. It's one of those IKEA, like L-shaped ones that we can kind of put sheets on and things like that. When we had our relatives or my wife's cousin visiting, we actually used this as our bed, and then they had the bed in the lounge room because they've got a couple of kids that came as well. So yeah, it worked out perfect that we got the actual separate room here. So I can actually also be in here and do my YouTube things and work, and Jenny can still have the rest of the house. So it's even better than in Moscow now. What? It's 20 degrees is like beautiful weather. It's kind of the warmest it's been the last couple of days than it's been the previous 2 or 3 weeks, especially if you saw the weather for Victory Day here, it was kind of not particularly nice. I was actually making the video about the supermarket that day in Orol and Lipetsk, and we actually went to a shop to get some coffee driving between the two places, and the snow just came down. It was like this kind of 4 seasons in one day on that day when we drove between the two cities. It was really in crazy weather. I thought I'd talk about the Tesla video because one, it's not got a lot of views, but that's not a problem. I mean, I know certain videos will get more views, some will get less. That's just YouTube. You've got to kind of take the positive with the negative and the good with the bad and things like that. I mean, I enjoy making the videos, so that's really more important for me. And then if I can make videos that are interesting for you guys to watch, then it kind of is kind of like a two-way street. Here it's already getting to 29 and 33. What? Beautiful weather. Wow. With humidity. Yesterday it was 26. Yeah, I think yesterday here was about the same Celsius. I didn't remember looking at the number yesterday. Oh, Zeldy left Moscow, Russia 2 months ago to come back to the UK. And I miss it so much. Just want to go back already. Yeah, it's kind of a thing, right? I mean, when it becomes your home where you live, you kind of miss it when you go on a holiday or you go back somewhere, and then when you get, it's like sleeping in your own, when you go on a holiday and you sleep in a hotel, and then you always feel better sleeping in your own bed when you come back. I think that's just a normal thing for everybody around the world. Abu Zazi, hello, hi. Where I live, it goes from 30 Celsius in the daytime and 5 at night. Pasta sauce, hello. I love pasta, by the way. I actually had pasta for lunch today. It was kind of the leftover pasta from a couple of days ago. You know how when you kind of keep eating it for a couple of days later, it gets a little bit better every time? So yeah, it was like a chicken pasta. Chicken pasta. It's like this concoction my wife's come up with where we use some kind of cream in it and things like that. Did you see Iran? I saw the news about Iran. Yes, it's basically on Telegram very quickly, all of these breaking news, much quicker than it is on normal television. So yeah, definitely saw that. Yeah, that's insane and crazy. I mean, incidents and accidents and crashes and things like that are not good. And then obviously when it's somebody in authority, it's not good either. I mean, especially, such a big country like Iran is. Kurt, hello. How's it going? How's things? Is over the Cyber. I mean, I really like everyone's opinion about the Cybertruck. I know there's obviously a lot of positive and negative about it. People love it. People hate it. People like it. It's very polarizing. I like that. I mean, I think the important thing is you've got to kind of see it in person. You've got to touch it. You've got to kind of feel it. And then you can kind of make that direct opinion about it, right? Overpriced junk already has recalls poor reliability and rust. Yeah, I mean, look, it's made out of metal, right? And the way that they bend it and things like that. Oleg in sunny St. Petersburg. Yeah, sunny here in Moscow too. I mean, 6:54 p.m. I think the sunset. I posted on Telegram last night a beautiful sunset photo, and it was super nice. The sunset. We have the west-facing windows here, so the sun just goes right down across the town where we live. When will you learn Russian? I'm slowly. I'm very old to learn new things. What do they say? You can't teach a dog new tricks. I think that's the correct expression. I pick up more words just by hearing them than I would learning them. So, Robert, hello. And friends, Robert Shabrual. Sorry if I got that wrong. But pasta and butter. We don't really use a lot of butter in our house. It's something you can buy in Russia, but we just don't use butter a lot. We use just a little bit of olive oil or oil. Are you a mushroom? No. I like mushrooms, though. We've got an air fryer now. I think in the last live stream or the one before, I had a discussion about buying an air fryer or air grill or oven. And we've now got an air fryer, and I've done mushrooms. Actually, I've got some in the fridge waiting to make some more kind of air fryer mushrooms. Put a little bit of garlic and a little bit of oil and a little bit of seasoning. Put them in there. I just say you just press play, and that's it. There's a little dial where you can choose which food, and then it stops halfway through. It tells you to shake it, and then you put it back in. What do I do for a living? I make YouTube videos. That's pretty much it. For now, I was working on cruise ships for a lot of years. I was actually working in the onboard duty-free shops on cruise ships. That was pretty much the last 19 years. I did that for in total. Before that, I worked in land-based duty-frees at the airports. During COVID, when everybody got sent home from cruise ships, I went and worked in supermarkets in Australia. And I really enjoyed that. I was doing merchandising. I was doing new shop builds and shop refitting. So I was doing the merchandising around new supermarket openings, also new petrol station openings as well, which I really, really enjoyed because I wasn't directly working for the supermarkets or the petrol stations. It was kind of a third-party company that was brought in to do all the merchandising and things like that. Telegram is the best app. Yes, I've got a Telegram channel, Traveling with Russell. Let me see if I can find the link. I don't really love posting links in the chat, but I will. Where is the link? Telegram channel. All right, here. Cancel. I've got two screens to look at, so it's always... That's the link to my channel. There is a chat as well. So if you post something as a comment on a post, it'll take you to the chat. And that's where it's quite active there. There's about 800 people now. And there's usually a couple of hundred people active, and there's always something chatting in there. Now, what if what happened in Iran happened in Russia? What, a helicopter crash? I mean, I'm sure there was a helicopter crash somewhere else in the world the last 2 days. I mean, it's kind of like a car crash, right? I mean, there's car crashes every day somewhere in the world. And it's not good no matter what happens. I mean, it's a matter of understanding why. I mean, looking at that, there was a lot of bad weather. Probably wasn't the wisest thing to take off in bad weather. Please don't come back to Perth. What? Thank you, Haley, for the reminder about not coming back. I loved living in Rockingham, by the way. We lived in Rockingham by the foreshore. My actual address is technically Baldivis, but I was living in Rockingham during the COVID times when I came home from cruise ships. I actually had to do the 2 weeks quarantine, not in the hotels. I actually rented a separate house for 14 days. Actually, I ended up being there 3 or 4 weeks, actually. I had 2 weeks isolation and then 2 extra weeks till I moved out somewhere else. But I rented an empty house for 2 weeks. Well, 4 weeks in the end. Yeah, and then I just got food delivered, and my parents left food on the front door kind of thing. It was really kind of weird, but it worked out. Hello from Zelnina. That's the end of the D4 train line. If you've watched the train video about the Volga, I took the train from a Preliv, got all the way to the other end. I got off. Pretty much all the people that were on there taking photos and videos like I was, we all hung around for it to go all the way back. And then I got off halfway on the way back and went into Moscow that day. So if you've seen the video, it was really cool. And that video is getting a ton of views as well. I think people like train content. Sailor, hello. Good. Hello, how's it going? Sailor. You can find in Moscow just an idea, a new idea. I mean, as a as a native English speaker, there is a lot of opportunity to do English speaking or teaching or helping people learn English. That's the biggest opportunity for native English speaking people. I mean, my skill is really in supermarkets and retail, and going to see that supermarket grand opening. I'm pointing to the YouTube on the other screen. But yeah, if you watch the video of me going to the Belarus supermarket I'm probably going to retitle that. I think we kind of came up with that idea of the title while I was doing the video, or traveling for those few days. And I think I might retitle the video to my Russian typical supermarket title, or Belarus owned supermarket title. We spent an overnight between the stores, actually helping them get the store ready to be open. And the guy that I went with, or the couple of different people I went with, were just in shock that I was running around doing everything. Because they didn't really expect me to be as active as I was. We stayed there till 4 a.m. And then we went and then came back again the next morning for the opening of that store. And then we drove to the other store and drove back to Moscow. Wow, David, hello. And everybody wish you all well. Thank you so much, David. I hope Italy is doing well. I love seeing your photos and videos that you post in our chat. And it makes me jealous of where you are there with that green kind of back garden and your, I guess, dacha, you like to call it as well. And we're all waiting for your first vintage of wine from it. Sampo, hello in Finland. Russell, how's it going? I'm doing well, thank you. My wife's not home. She might come home while we're doing the video, depending on how long I do the live stream for. She went over to see her friends today on the other side of Moscow, so it's about a 2-hour, well, probably less than 2 hours. We've figured out a faster way to get there now by the train and the bus. It's about 2 hours each way to get over there. So she kind of spends the whole day there and then comes back in the evening. Yes. So that's the packet right here. That's the chocolate that I posted the photo of. And actually, this is one of the things I got from the, oh, if I turn it that way. So you can see 481 on the barcode. That's basically saying that it's from Belarus. I bought a few different things to bring back with me. And I ended up with most of the candy and the snacks. And then my wife ended up with like some sausages and salamis and some other like treats. Yeah, fire flux. Yeah, salt. I was thinking that it was honey. And you're probably right, it's salt, because I was thinking, wow, it's not exactly honey tasting, but it was very delicious. Actually, it was already open before I got it out the cupboard. I've got one cupboard in the whole kitchen, which is my snack cupboard. And whatever my treats and snacks are, they're in that one cupboard. And then this morning, after lunch, that was my snack. So, and the other, I'm not sure everybody really loves to see my. Well, it's going to be hard because it's upside down. I opened it, but I got these like dry. They're like croutons, but they're beer snacks, really. So if anyone's from Russia, I'm sure you know about these things, beer snacks. But I'm into these at the moment rather than potato chips. Will I participate in the Moscow Marathon as a journalist? I don't know combat. I don't know really much about it. If you want to type something in Telegram to me about the date of it and the schedule of it, I can definitely, as long as I know the dates of things beforehand, I know to go to them. I tend to, unfortunately, find out about a lot of things the day after, which is always the way here. They just don't over-publicize things because there's a million events in Moscow every day and weekend. So I would love to do things if I can just know the day before, or at least a few days before, just to get a bit of a plan about going there. Then yeah, it'd be kind of cool to make a video about it. Polish president, he died in the same weather condition with his plane. Oh, well, that's big. Well, that wasn't recently though, was it? I don't think accidents happen. Exactly. And I was very excited that you decided to visit our station. Yeah, I didn't go out of the station though. We got off. Well, the other people that were there probably filming and taking photos. I actually chatted to a bunch of people in between filming, particularly all the younger guys. They were kind of students, and I would imagine they were in high school, a lot of them, maybe university students. And we all kind of got off, and we all hung around the front of the train once we got to the station, right, which would have been the back when we arrived. And I didn't go out anywhere outside the station, which I probably should just do that for another trip. Just go over there just to check out the immediate area where the train station is. Yeah, what if the president of Russia passed? Well, that would be crazy situation. I mean, look, any head of state, if anything was to happen to them, I mean, look, when the Queen died of old age, right? But you know, I mean, now Charles is having some health issues. You know, things can happen, right? I mean, look at all of the famous people that have died young, if you want to call it that. We can see the shadow now from the sun coming through this glass. Sorry about that. It's actually a good time to make the video, though, with the bright light. Greetings from 1,000 kilometers away. Temperature here across the border is plus 15. Mr. Jamo. 1,000 kilometers from Moscow? Is that how far it is? I guess to St. Petersburg and then across from there. From Macedonia. We're watching your videos. Thank you. We enjoy watching your videos. Are you planning to show us some Russian factory products like textiles? It's not easy to kind of figure out going on these tours. Most of the time, it's people that contact me and ask me if I'd like to come along. Would I like to go do this, see this, do that? And of course, if it's something that would suit what I want to do and make a video around it, absolutely. It's not as easy to find the contact person for a factory, for instance. You know, you can sort of send all the messages you like to everybody under the sun, and then it just so happens that the guy downstairs out in the car park getting in his car, it's their cousin who works at that factory. You know, it's just coincidences like that make the videos possible. Is it cold in Russia now? No. Do I need a coat or just bring a sweater? It's beautiful weather, 20 degrees. Actually, I wore my hoodie. I went to the shop about an hour ago, and I could have just gone in I'm in my shorts now, by the way, and then I always wear polo shirts. But I wore a hoodie, but I didn't need it. My wife went out today in like a light jacket, very light jacket, but she gets cold very easily, so it doesn't take much for her to feel cold. Whereas 20 degrees for me is beautiful weather. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think you need a coat if, you know, like a winter coat, definitely not. I mean, the thing is, though, it could be cool and raining 3 days from now, but, you know, definitely sweaters or hoodies, you know, maybe a light jacket. Like you might see me wearing that blue, I call it the Tucker Carlson jacket, which when it gets a bit cooler weather, I'll just wear that instead. Have you seen stray dogs in Moscow? Not really, no. There is a few occasionally that are here in my town. I live in Moscow region, about 50 kilometers from Moscow. In Moscow, if you go into Moscow, absolutely not. You might see a cat running around, but that's probably from somebody's house. Stray dogs, it's very rare you see them. When will the next channel subscriber meeting be? I'm not sure. The last one was pretty cool when we had only... How many people were there? 10 or 12? About 10, I think. 11. I did ask about it in the Telegram channel, and then we set up a little separate group just so that we weren't basically publicizing everything to everybody every 5 minutes. Yeah, it's 23 in Moscow. Yeah, it says 20 on my computer. I'm just going by that temperature. Let's see what my phone says. Oh, it is 23. See, that's the thing, right? There you go. That's where I am there. You can see the little red little dot, and then where Moscow is. Feels like 20. This time yesterday it was 20 also. Definitely no rain. So yeah, the computer, which is probably like MSN News, kind of a weather aggregator. Is the light different, or is it just me? I think just because of the sun, and then this glass, these yellow blocks creates a bit of reflection. Justin, I've not gone to the cinemas in Russia. I know that the movies are in Russian with English subtitles. They're not dubbed. I think there might be 1 or 2 cinemas in all of Moscow that have movies in English, but it's quite rare. You'd really have to search them out to find the specific cinema. But if you go to any shopping center with a movie cinemas, it's Russian. It's you know, it's going to sometimes be English or American movies, but it's dubbed in Russian with English subtitles. And how do you communicate with locals? Pretty much people speak English in some form. And where I'm really stuck, I'll just use Google Translate. Yeah, just get that on your phone and you're good. I'm not sure what the cost of movies are, though. I think maybe it's 400 or 500 rubles, $4 or $5 for a ticket, maybe 600 rubles. I'm not sure. I've been and walked in them. I've never been in them. My wife keeps wanting me to take it to the cinema, but we haven't been. In Italy, every time they elect a new one, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, and then they put the black smoke and everything right from the Vatican. Do you know Russian fluently? I don't know fluent Russian. No, I can make out a few words in a conversation if someone's chatting amongst themselves, but I couldn't probably understand a conversation. Woman like snakes don't like cold. My wife just doesn't like cooler weather. I mean, she just reacts to weather a little bit differently to me. Yandex weather is really cool. Yes, you can see about the rain. You can see if I press the screen. Is it going to do it for me? Oh, nothing always happens when I'm trying to do it on the. So you can see here, there's the map of Moscow. You can see the ring roads of Moscow, and then you can actually zoom back out. You can see like where the weather is, and you know. And if you actually just scroll through the timeline here, you can see the weather, the rain moving. Obviously, no rain in Moscow, so you're not going to see it, but you can pretty much within 10 minutes or half an hour, you can know if it's going to rain or not. Oh, the white light's going really funky. What was the name of the movie that was filmed in space? I'm not sure. With it's a lady in it, right? They took cameras up there and made some of the footage of it. I don't know that movie. Sorry. Hello from Moscow, Chris. Здравствуйте. Очень приятно. I hope everybody's having a nice day. Wherever you are in the world, there's a few of us here. We got 45 likes. I did a poll about do you own your dream car? I was going to say, have you driven your dream car? 28% said yes, and 71% said no. I mean, we've got roughly 82 votes. So you could probably say about 20 people own their dream car, and let's say the other 60 or so haven't. I mean, I don't own a car at all right now. So I'd like a Porsche in some form, whichever model it is. I'm not bothered. I'm pretty much not really that fussed about cars in terms of the statement of owning a certain model of car, but I'd love to have a Porsche, go for a drive in a Porsche. I think I'd be scared though that I wouldn't treat it the same way as my Hyundai gets in Australia. By the way, if anybody really likes the live streams and you'd like to help the channel in terms of donations, there is super chats and super stickers available. And if you're ever watching a video, you can always do a super thanks. Now, if you don't have any of that available, depending on where you are in the world, there is donation alerts. That's the next easiest way to support Traveling with Russell channel. I've actually got a text box open. Well, it's on this side to me. It's over here to you. Where people, if somebody does a donation on donation alerts, it comes up as a message here. Actually, the last 3 donations were anonymous. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the last 7 were anonymous. So, yep. And the last one was 7 days ago, which is, did we do a live stream I guess it was last weekend. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Because it tells you the date even on there as well. So have you met other Australians in your area? Not where I live. I don't think there's actually even a single expatriate or non-Russian living in the town where I live. In Moscow, I've met somebody from England. We went out for lunch. Actually, I've met an Australian Oh my gosh, Chris, I can't remember everybody's names. I'm very bad with names. I met him about 2 months ago. He's coming back to Moscow this week. I think at the end of the week, he's coming back to Moscow. We met up and went for dinner. I've met the Australian family from Siberia, who live in Barnaul. When they were in Moscow, this was probably a year ago at least. I think it was last summer that we met in Moscow. We met for a short time. I've met a couple of Australian teachers. This was back, that'll be nearly 2 years ago now. We went and watched the football together. I'm trying to think. Can't think of any others that I've met. When I went to the tank thing, the NATO tank display in Victory Park, or Park Pobeda, I met somebody there. I met an American family there. I met somebody from Austria. I can't remember. I met people from different countries. I've met Joanna, who's in the Telegram chat. She's from Portugal. So yeah, there is definitely expatriates here. I mean, particularly where I live, I've not met anybody. Actually, there is a guy that works at the supermarket at the train station who's originally from Cuba, but he speaks and writes, speaks fluent Russian. I think he's lived here quite a lot of years, I would imagine. You rented the Moskowitz 3 last year on my visit to Moscow. Nice car. Yeah, I mean, I've just done that brief drive around of it when I went to the factory. Yeah, I mean, for me, any new car, sitting in it and driving it feels luxurious. You know, I've actually done Belka car rentals a few times and had a few of the different Chinese cars back 2 years ago when there was a lot of Volkswagen Polos and different, they're more compact economy cars that they use. I mean, any car for me is a car. So Infiniti Q50 is the best. I think our friends here in Aprelivka have, I know they have an Infiniti, but I'm not sure which Q they've got. She had one model and now she's changed it to another model. I've been in it a couple of times. I don't know which one model it is though. She loves it. Do you get your passport stamp when you enter Russia? Do they still do passport stamps, or is it? Yes, they do a passport stamp. Yeah, they usually go to the last page or the second to last page, and then they put them all close together on one page. Yeah, they definitely do it in Russia. And then obviously, if you got the visa, you'd have a page where your visa's a whole page. Now with mine, I've got, well, the electronic visa, and then I've got the one that's the rubber stamp, which is a whole page. And then I've got my registration stamp on another page. So yeah, they definitely do it in Russia when you enter the country. On one page of mine, I've got quite a few entry stamps. In Australia, they don't do it unless you request it, because people complained that their passport was getting full too quickly and they had to renew their passport too often. So in Australia, you've got to actually ask them at the desk to get the stamp. And sometimes they've not even got the stamps there. They go take you to another desk, because my wife did it with her passport last trip, because she'd renewed her passport here and then wanted new stamps in it. So my first car was my dream car, Ford Mustang. Wow. That was cool. 1979 Ford Mustang was your first car and your dream car. Nice. I really wasn't looking at it. It's yeah. Sorry. My sister's son had a Ford Escort. I know it's not a Mustang, but that was a pretty zippy car. I drove that a couple of times. Gasoline is cheap in Russia. Yes, petrol or benzene. They call it benzene in Russian. Gas would be considered LPG or auto gas when you talk about gasoline. Gasoline is really an American slang word almost here. Hope Ford will be back in Russia one day. Well, you can still get Ford cars here. I mean, you can still find them. You can still get them. There is still, well, I wouldn't. You can call them dealerships quite loosely. So you can still find them and get them. They're still in the country. there's just not as much support from the the brands as there was in the past. So you'll still see a lot of Ford Transits on the road. The Ford Escorts, I think, were actually made in Russia. I think they had a factory here for a long time that was making certain models domestically. In Moscow Center, you see a lot of Ford Mondeos on the road. Pasta sauce, I would get a Porsche of some kind, even the Cayenne or this Panamera that I saw. I briefly showed it on the Cybertruck video. Actually, the guy pulled up when I went around the corner to look at the Cybertruck at the car wash place, and it's like a tuning shop, like a car tuning shop. They also do car wrapping there as well. And then the guy pulled up in the Panamera, and I'm like, oh my gosh. The guy was just like so humble. I'm like, wow, nice car. He's like, oh, it's just a car. I'm like, okay then. So yeah, that would be the thing is though, well, it's just the price of them, and that's probably what holds me back, wanting to commit that much money to a new car or a secondhand car. Found on the road dead. What do we say in Australia? Found on rubbish dumps is the acronym. What are your hobbies that you can tell us about? Hobbies. I don't have a lot of hobbies. Probably doing YouTube pretty much is a hobby, which became a job, which became the thing that I do here. When I was working on cruise ships, I was doing YouTube basically in the port days when I was getting off the ship. And it became more than a hobby, I guess. I mean, YouTube can be a hobby and you can, make a thing of it. It's a lot of hard work to get beyond the initial start of doing a YouTube channel. I mean, I can tell you everything possible, but then will people watch? Will it become a thing? And so on and so on. What's my other hobbies? Eating. That's not really a big hobby, really. I enjoy going to the different places where I make the videos. So going to the different conventions, if that's a hobby, and then making videos around that as well. I mean, going to learn about different, industries. The channel is not about one niche, and I think that's what makes it, almost a hobby, like where you go to certain things that are more interesting to you. And that's what I like about doing the YouTube, is I can find things that are interesting for me that I enjoy going to make a video. Because if you don't want to go and make a video, it becomes a grind, and you just don't enjoy it as much. And it's just difficult to make a video, if that makes sense. Good choice. Porsche are still built with quality and reliability in mind. Yes. Hello in Jacksonville, the Floridian, or Jackpot. I always say Jackpot when I think of Jacksonville. Look. Samuel Williams. Either the government is telling you porky pies. Have you ever heard that expression? Instead of saying lies, you say porky pies. Or you are propaganda. I get that in every video. Every video I make is propaganda. No matter what I do, it's propaganda. And then I just put a link in the return reply of the comment, like a video in Bali, where I went to a Bali supermarket or a Bali shopping center, and I show them the Bali propaganda. Love your work. Thank you, Samuel. Yes, I should have probably read the second comment before I answered the first comment. Yeah, I mean, look, the same when we were in Australia back in November, watching the 6 o'clock news. My parents like to watch the 6 o'clock news every night. And, the basicness of the reporting of the news. And that's all they know, because that's what they watched on the news, and that's what they think is the news, right? No left turns. Thank you for the super chat. Hello from Maui. Is a Tesla owner. I don't recommend an EV. Wait 5 years and see if they even make it. Oh, you have it. Somebody commented a couple of times on the Tesla video, particularly the first comments about them also being a Tesla owner. I wonder if they were your comments or someone else. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you a lot. It's super nice that you like the channel, like the videos. Yeah, I mean, that is the first and only Tesla Cybertruck. Now, just talking about it, a lot of people posted in comments that they've seen other Cybertrucks in Russia, or they've been told that there are others, but there isn't. That is the only one. It came into Russia about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer. The people that were at the dealership were super nice. They spoke English fluently. They were incredibly. They've been dealing with Tesla. How long did they say? I forgot now what they told me. Let me just type it so I can see what Tesla. Oh, since 2013, we've been working with you, for you, remaining faithful for our main goal to develop an electric car culture and help you get an incredible experience. Since 10, 11 years, they've been basically, that was the place where I went to see the car. I went there a few days earlier and it wasn't there. And then they sent me a message saying it's going to be there between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. So I literally rushed, got changed because I got the message just after lunch. It was about 2 hours to get there. Well, a little bit shorter. And it was sitting there in their kind of parking lot, plugged in, charging. There was a couple of people there taking some photos, and then it was really kind of a back street area. It wasn't really anywhere quite public. But apparently people have seen, there's 5 or 7 of them according to other people's reports. But like the lady told me there's no photos, there's no proof. It doesn't exist if it's the only one. So yeah, wait 5 years. Yeah, I mean, they actually had quite a few other models. I mean, I'd love to just go back and spend time just with one car and talk about one car, like that little Aura there, which is pretty cool. The little small Chinese car. I like it how they kind of tell you that it's a Chinese car or not a Chinese car. I mean, I would never think about that when I'm going to look at a model of car in a car dealership, right? That it's from China or not. Do you like any video games, Dimitri? I don't play video games. The only one I play is Airport CEO, which is kind of like a strategy game, kind of like Sim City, but it's about airports. Any of the other kind of games, I've got the whole computer set up here. I've got everything that you possibly need. I just don't utilize it for. I mean, the computer that I'm running here can power the whole building, run the whole building, but I don't, utilize it more than what I'm doing on live streams and YouTube, and that's about it. I could probably do far more with it. I could do conferencing and what do you call that other one, Zoom calls and stuff, but I don't. I think you should travel outside Moscow region. Well, I did kind of last 2 weeks ago when I went to these supermarkets, but we pretty much drove there, went to the supermarkets and drove back. So I didn't really see too much of the towns where we were. I guess that's the nature of it when you go there to see certain things only. You don't spend too much more time. If you have any suggestions, let me know where. What's the difference between Bali and Moscow that you experience the most? Do you think people are more laid back in Bali? Bali is nothing like Russia, nothing like Moscow. Bali is a tropical island. The weather is the big difference. That's a huge difference. Shorts and t-shirt and flip-flops everywhere. We like to go to Gili Air, which is an island off the island of Bali. It's about 20 minutes by plane away. You go to Lombok and then you take a boat and a car to get there, where there's only a couple of thousand people on the whole island and no vehicles, no transport. In Bali, motorbikes, scooters everywhere. Scooters like you don't believe. It can just cause traffic for no reason, just because of the amount of scooters. People are definitely laid back in Bali. Yes. I love the Panamera. It used to be a prototype in the 70s, I heard, and came back 2009. Oh, there you go. I mean, okay, there's all these GT3s and GT whatever, Porsches and stuff like that, but, just any of the kind of stock models are very, very nice. Oh, Sam is also in Florida. And you're also a Tesla guy or Tesla owner. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I probably should have been a bit more pushy about trying to get inside it and sit in it. I was just being incredibly polite to the people at the dealership and to the gentleman that was kind of looking after the car the whole time. Probably when I went round to the car wash people, I could have probably gone in and sat in there and done all whatever I like. The guy at that car detailing place and car tuning place, he's like, any car you like, just get in it, sit down if you want the keys. He really wanted me to come back to make another video just showing his detailing place, which I think I will, because he had some pretty high-end vehicles there, like expensive cars. I think that the modern automotive industry is degrading in comparison with what they've done 40 years ago. Cars used to be works of art, but now unfortunately they are not. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more production line and make them and get them out the door. I mean, you'll always hear that expression. They're not built like they used to be. You know, they're a lot more difficult to work on now. The average person can't work on a car in their driveway anymore. It's all with a computer that gets plugged in. Why would anybody buy that electric junk? Yeah, I mean, look, it's got a certain aura around it. I mean, I was calling it like a unicorn, yes, when I was there, you know, and you know, I guess for people in America, they're becoming more and more available and more noticeable on the streets and roads and cities. I mean, I just like the fact that I'm in a country or a place where something like that is impossible, but then it's possible to see. I mean, I probably, sorry. Where I was there was Kutuzovskaya Prospect and then the metro station. And it was only 15-minute more walk up the road to Park Pobede, which is where the Abraham tank was and the Leopard tank was. And I kind of thought about it afterwards that I should have done a whole America angle, that there's this American tank down the street from an American Tesla Cybertruck. And then literally that Little Caesars place is the same building as where the Tesla place was. And I didn't notice it at first because I'd gone there a couple of days earlier, and then I came back. And then when I was just standing there filming, and then the Tesla drove off, and then it came back later. And I'm like, because I was trying to think, what does it make? What's the pizza place? Then I realized it's Little Caesars. And I'd already filmed everything, so I couldn't really refilm it all then because it was in the moment. But I could have probably done the whole American tank in Moscow, the American Cybertruck in Moscow, pizza in Moscow. Toyota and Lexus, they've been doing it much longer. Yeah, the Toyota Prius, you see a lot of them in Moscow. The Prius models, they've been around a lot of years. I mean, now you're going to see all these newer Chinese brands and things like that. They never work right. I like the older cars. Yes, my dad is the same way. I mean, he's not as happy now. They've got a few years ago, they got a new car. Quite a few, I don't know how many years ago now, but my dad can't really do anything to work on it. He has to take it to the dealership, right? It's under warranty, things like that. So he's kind of stuck with whatever he's got. He can't just open the bonnet and start tinkering with it. Hello, Russell. Oh, Xiaomi guy. Hello. I keep just translating all of the Russian names. Do you ever explain how you ended up in Russia? My wife is as fascinated as me with your channel as me. She is curious. Well, I've kind of talked about it a few times. I originally met my wife on a holiday in Thailand. We went on separate holidays, completely didn't know each other from a bar of soap. We met in a bar one night, and I guess the rest is history. I was on holiday there. She was on holiday. I was still working on cruise ships at the time. She was with her friend. I actually went on holiday alone. I used to come back from working on cruise ships. You'd do 6 months working on the ship and usually have 2 months holiday. And I'd fly somewhere, generally to Bali. And a couple of times I went to Thailand. And then just one night I went to a bar and she was there. And then she said, you can come and visit me in Moscow. I ended up going back to the cruise ships for another contract. I came back to Perth, to Australia, to get my visa to go to Russia, and got on the plane and flew to Moscow. That was 10 years ago. How wide are the roads? Enough to do crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of those crazy Russian driver videos on YouTube. I mean, the thing is here, the bigger country, bigger population, I mean, more accidents. I mean, there's accidents every day. And a lot of it's probably through driver error and lack of people's road driving skills. I wouldn't put it down to drink driving. I wouldn't put it down to, I think it's really about driver education, why there's some crazy Russian drivers. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't go through the full term of the requirements to get their driver's license. And I think that's critical. I mean, in Australia, they keep adding more technicality to them getting their L's and then their learner plates and then probationary plates. Whereas there's a little bit of an easier format to get it here, which I don't like as much. And I think there should be a lot more awareness of people's ability to drive and then go through the driver training and, where you go out with an instructor and things like that. Peter, hello. And you're a member for 3 months. Thank you. To whoever is channel members watching, thank you so much. There is emojis that you can use, but it's basically set up as a way to thank me as a creator, I guess the channel. And, I don't do nearly enough for channel members. I really should do more and put more videos. I do actually put the videos earlier on the channel though. EVs are not good for Russia yet. Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest other problem is the weather conditions for batteries and longevity of batteries, particularly in winter. That's definitely not a thing. And then also the amount of charges that are in Russia is not nearly enough. Even in Australia, they still carrying on about it. It's not enough. It's sad. I liked working on all the cars, changing the oil. Yes, that's my dad. I had my Hyundai Getz. My dad was able to do all of that. And he'd even schedule me to come around with the car for him to do like the brakes or the oil change and things like that. Love Pug. Hello. Call it the American District. Yes. Yeah, I just thought about it at the time because when I went the first time, this was last week, and then I kind of got there and they're like, oh, it's not here. And I'm like, all right, so what do I do now? So I went for a walk down to Victory Park and I went in to see the tank display again because there was really not as many people there and there was no line to get through the little security checkpoint. And I went for a brief walk on the promenade there where all of the Great Patriotic War displays are and things. And then I kind of thought about it because I'd already filmed. Well, I hadn't filmed that day, but when I went to film and finish the video, then I thought about it after. I could have even almost done like a walking video from the American tank to the Cybertruck because it's really quite close in terms of all of Moscow, how far away things can be. Congratulations with 20 plus degrees weather. Yes, it still says 20 on my computer. Finally have any plans on visiting the Moose Island? What? Moose Island Park? Where's the Moose Island? You need to tell me about this in Telegram because I don't know about the Moose Island Forest Park. And if it's easy to get there by a bus, train, or some public transport. What questions I get when I enter immigration in the airport? Do they ask for any documents? Depending on what they key into their computer, they normally ask you, where did you come from? I don't remember. The last 2 trips I went to Uzbekistan to watch the football. I went to Kyrgyzstan to see Gleb, and then we went to Australia. when I came, from Kyrgyzstan, when I came back from Uzbekistan, they said, where did you come from? And I said, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. And then they said, where are you going now? I said, I'm going home. Like, and then the guy says to me, where do you live? And I think he thought I was going to say that I'm with an Australian passport. And I'm like, I live in a Prelivka. And he just laughed. And I think once, maybe twice, I've done quite a lot of trips into Russia. They asked, because on my registration of my passport, it's that I'm married to Yevgenia, my wife. So they see that I'm married, and my wife's name's in the passport stamp. I've had to show my marriage certificate. I do carry my marriage certificate as a copy, just in case. And I've shown that once. They literally looked at it, and that was it. It was kind of like I guess sometimes they just don't believe the story of me. So Setako made a great video about the current situation with the Russian car market. I'm not sure who Setako is. Yeah, just the visa check. Yeah, I mean, the visa's in your passport, right? So whatever reason you're here for, tourist visa or business visa or family visa, they really don't ask, really any questions that are, personal. I know the one where they said that I'm married, and I'm like, yeah, I've got my marriage certificate, and I showed them it, and they literally just glanced at it. Now, when I came back from Uzbekistan, I asked about the register. They give you like a landing card. I don't know what it's called, that you keep in your passport page. And they said, you don't need it now because you've got a residency visa. And that was it. Peter, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. And 6 people have put a thumbs up on your super sticker. Thank you. That's really nice. Donation alerts. What's going on? I always think it doesn't work, but I know it works. From Saskatchewan, Western Canada. I've been busy and missed a few of your live shows. I see you got your apartment. Yes. Thank you. Yes, Mark. This is if you want to go back about 5 or 7 videos ago, I did do a video tour of the apartment, but I've got it on the channel as that it's a apartment for rent, not as the place where we live. So if you're watching the one, it's like Russian typical, I don't know, economical apartment tour. I forgot the title now. That's this apartment, and you'll probably recognize it from the glass blocks that I show in the video, right? So taxi drivers in New York are crazier than the craziest ones in Russia, right? I think a lot more people, I mean, the thing in Moscow, there's a lot of highways and main roads, and it's definitely a certain skilled driver who can be comfortable driving in Moscow, because you're really, the defensive driving that you get taught in Australia is to, also worry about the other drivers on the road, not just yourself. Are there a lot of Indians in Russia? It's visa-free recently for Indians to go to Russia. You do see them. I think a lot of them that are here are students or in universities. You do see occasionally some. I would say there's not that many. There probably is a lot more than I realize. I mean, I only see who I see when I go out. So if I go out somewhere in Moscow or in the center, I'm not out and about every day going everywhere. So, you'll see a sprinkling of them. You probably see more people that are from African nations than you probably see Indians. I don't know. I guess that's also the visa situation as well. An Aussie missing muscle cars, very Mad Max, I'd say. You could watch the behind the scenes of that. It's pretty cool where they talk about the vehicles that they used in the filming of the movies. What's my favorite type of car? One that doesn't break down, that doesn't cost a lot for petrol, That's very reliable. My wife she laughs that I had a Hyundai Getz, but it was absolutely as reliable as you'd ever want. It done 200,000 kilometers when I ended up selling it, and it would probably done another 100,000 more easily, I think. And we went back to Australia the last trip. We rented actually the i20, which is the model up from Getz, as i10 now, i20. And that's the whole thing. When we rented it from the mum and dad car rental place where we live, where we used to live. We didn't rent it from like the Hertz or the one at the airport because it's too expensive. So they've got late model cars that are rentals, which are perfectly fine. Moose Island is near Hanoi, Moscow, in my district. Oh, maybe you want to go together. We can go. I can meet you at Hanoi, Moscow. I know it's a fair way to get from my end of Moscow, but I'd love to go back for some more tom yum soup. The next day after I came home from there, I was kind of just dreaming about it, and then when I told Jenya how far it was, you catch a bus from Vdenhar out there to Hanoi, Moscow. She's like, "Oh, it's too far just to go for soup." Informative, interesting videos. Thank you, Altai. Thank you so much. No worries. If you don't have a question, you don't have to. You can follow along, watch the live stream. Thanks to 84 people who have done a thumbs up. Thanks to, was it Peter and No Left Turns for super chats or super stickers. Thank you. Watched an old video from you, and you said that you're going to visit Ostankina. Yes, I'm going to go plan a day to go and do that because it's not far from Vdenhar as well. So it depends on how you get there. You either get off at Vdenhar metro station and walk through the park, come out the other end, and then Ostankina is not far from there. Yes, I'll definitely have to plan a day, especially with the nice weather now. It's just a matter of getting up earlier and going out and doing things. I mean, the thing is, I'm a bit lazier. I like to go out like 11 or 12 o'clock after lunch. And then like now, for instance, it's 8 p.m. and the sun is still up. So you can go out and stay later out somewhere. You can go for a nice walk in the park in the evenings as well. Yes, I will have to put that on my list of things to do. I was asked in Moscow, where are you staying? And he looked into my visa 10 seconds later. Enjoy. Exactly. Right. I think it's just a matter of just when you come through the airport, just having not really the wits about you, but just having the right answers. And that's it. People every video that I've watched where people have come into Moscow and they're making YouTube videos now, I was apprehensive. I was worried. I was scared. But if you've got the right documents and you've got the right paperwork, everything's fine. It's the same as flying into America. I could fly all the way from Australia to America and get refused entry. And then what do you do? Right. And that was when I was flying back to work all the time. But I'd always carry my work contract with me, my hotel reservation with me. So I had all the things ready to show them if they wanted it or not. I'm going to jump to the church. I'm going to jump to the church after setting foot in Russia. Got to get married. Well, good if you do. Yeah, in Russia, a car is compulsory. Well, it's not compulsory. It would be nice to have a car, particularly for weekends and to drive somewhere, film a video, drive home. It would be handy. To go into the center of Moscow like we did last week with my wife's family, we actually just drove the car to the shopping center, and then we got in the metro together, whole family with a pram with the baby and everything, because it was just easier than finding somewhere to park in Moscow and pay for parking, and then worry about traffic in and out and things like that. I'm more than happy catch your public transport. Even with the e-visa situation, a lot of people still scared to go to, I think it's just a thing that's, like mental thing in your head, that they're, that they don't have a reason, that they don't have to give you a reason to stop you from entering the country, right? I mean, I guess everyone's got that. I've traveled around the world and they can refuse entry for no reason, but they have to have a reason, right? I mean, at the end of the day with the visas, you've had enough background checking before they put the visa in your passport and the documents you've had to provide. I mean, even when my wife flew into Australia, I mean, her residency for Australia is like an electronic visa with her passport. And she was worried about it. I said, Jen, the amount of documents and, the last 2 years of doing paperwork to get to this point, that they know you before you even entered, sort of thing, right? Without getting too ripped off, I'm a student, so got to save money. I guess, well, you can do Qatar Airways, Etihad Airways, Emirates Airways. You can fly through Doha, Abu Dhabi, through Dubai. I'm not sure if they've got direct flights from, I guess Emirates might have a flight that goes to Ekaterinburg, or you'd have to come through Moscow and then do another flight. I guess you could fly to maybe somewhere like Georgia. I'm not too sure if they've got flights to Georgia. I know through Uzbekistan, like when I went to Tashkent, I saw they've got international flights from Tashkent to other countries with Uzbekistan Airways. I know they fly to New York. That was just crazy when I saw that on the sign. I guess from Moscow you can get the train. That's going to be a pretty long trip once you fly in from Canada there and then do that. Thanks for your content. Thank you, Anatoly. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like the videos and you like the live streams. Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious, like with the mix of videos, that one video can get, like particularly the tank video, right? The NATO tank video got 800,000 views and it went up very, very fast. Just give me 10 seconds. 1 second. Doing a live stream. My wife is asking what we're going to have for dinner when she must be on her way home now. And she has to come through Salareva metro station, which is where is the shopping center with Globus. And generally when we pass through there, we always make a stop to the supermarket on the way home. She's just checking what's for dinner. Yeah, just like it's amazing. The tank video got 800,000 views, and then the next video will be back to a normal amount of views. And then, for instance, like this apartment tour video is now 100,000 plus views, and then also the train video, the Evolga train video. It's interesting when you look at the, one video is like this, one's like this, one's like this. I mean, I'm trying to vary the content a little, but still keeping my traveling with Russell flavor to the video, right? So can you do a river cruise on the open deck? Actually, Sailor, I did one. Well, it was really when I started the channel. I could probably go and do another one because I love doing them river cruises. Now it's basically river cruise season. They like to call it like water fountain season, the tram season. Yeah, they've got a lot of the boats that go up and down the river in the center of Moscow. But I've done one 2 years ago almost. When I started the channel, I went and did the 99 ruble river cruise. So maybe if you go back by oldest first, and it'll be one of the first 20 videos on the channel. Wouldn't have got a lot of views back then, but that was a pretty cool, I think it was a cool video anyway. G2030 laptop will come to visit you. Not sure what that means. Thank you. I'm not sure what that is. International tourists in Russia. Oh, I guess I'm only in Moscow when I go to Red Square, like we went with my cousin. And that was obviously during the holidays, in May holidays. But you definitely saw people from other countries. You saw a lot of other people from other CIS countries as well that come to Moscow. So you'll hear them speaking Russian, but they may be from Georgia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan. You can definitely see when there's Chinese tourists because they're quite noticeable. I'm sure there is a lot more that I don't see because I'm not necessarily going out to tourist spots every time I go out somewhere in Moscow. So if I just go to my local shopping center or even to Belarus, I mean, that's really a suburban shopping center. It wouldn't have tourists coming to that place, whereas tourists may go to another shopping center. Let's talking about those river tram videos. I love making both of those videos, the one in winter and the one in summer. The winter one was really cool. I made a point of going on that nice sunny day, and it made the video just even nicer. If you check and recommend you some cool restaurants, thank you, Altai. We when I went to go make that supermarket video with Chesnok, the guy there was talking about that they want to open Chesnok supermarkets in the Donbass region, maybe in the next 2 to 5 years. They've got a bit of a long-term plan that they want to open stores there in that whole region. But I find it yes, that's true, Peter. Australia is the most guarded border of airport in the world. I mean, the biosecurity, and you can't bring food, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're going to walk across a mat when you get off the plane. The dogs in the airport, they come on and spray the planes depending on which country they've come from. Oh, thank you, Jackie. I got a master's degree in 19th century Russian history. I'm losing my ability to speak Russian. Your videos helps a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of Russian. I mean, I guess once you watch a few videos about Russia and my channel, you'll get recommended other videos. I mean, I get, unfortunately, recommended a lot more other Western-speaking videos about people filming in Russia, more than I ever knew they existed in terms of other channels. Aussies, Brits, Americans. Not very often do I bump into other native English speakers. It's almost, actually, last week we went to the dentist the day I made the video at the 7-Eleven. So when I was making that video, my wife went to the dentist down the street, literally the next building down. And then I said, oh, I'll go for a walk while you're going to the dentist, and then just message me when you're done. And I saw the Eurospa, and I went in there just to buy a drink, actually, and a slice of pizza, because it was still morning time. It's rare that we'd be in Moscow for 10 in the morning. And I thought, wow, good time. I can make a video. I actually went and asked them to lower the music down because it was playing very loud. And I made a very nice video there. And then I said to my wife, I said, let's go for a walk through the center of Moscow, because it was only like 30, 40-minute walk back to the center of Moscow to get the train home from another station. So we went to one of the markets. I don't remember. It's near, where is the circus? I can't remember the name of the station. There's a metro station nearby. And there's a nice green area that you can walk down the middle of two roads. And then there was a big eat market that we went to, like a multi-level one. We sat down to have some cake because we weren't really very hungry. And I heard someone speaking English, and then he heard me speaking English, and he's like, oh, another Aussie in Moscow. And there was an Australian guy with his Russian girlfriend, I imagine she was. And we chatted for about half an hour. He was living here. We actually really just talked about Australian things, about the football, about sport, about Aussie things. We didn't really talk about each other's situation living here. I talked about the fact that I went to see the Matildas play, the Australian women's football team. Yeah, it's very rare. You'd really have to, I mean, I pay a lot of attention to people speaking languages, so you can hear when people speak English very quickly, or Spanish, or another language. And that's from working on cruise ships. And it's quite easy to pick up when the minute you hear another language. So I'm always just curious, like even the guy at the supermarket, he isn't Russian looking, not at all, right? And he actually, when I asked him where he's from, like Akuda, he replied to me in Russian, and I said, "Oh, I speak English," and he's like, "Oh, I'm from Cuba." And then he spoke in English to me, right? So it's not very often. Yeah, you can fly from Turkey and Serbia, but that's through Europe. Yes, or through the Middle East if you're coming through the eastern side of Russia, I guess, rather than western side. I expect that you'd be guilty, so you kind of have to advocate for yourself, right? Especially from developing countries. Yes. Serbian friend, Fly Sky, hello. Serbia also here. I've got a lot of Serbian friends, Croatian friends that worked on cruise ships. Very good friend, Mickey. Mickey Makasa. What's his last name? Mickey. Oh, I don't remember what his last name is. Oh my gosh. We actually spent, when we were in Europe on the cruise ships, he was our kind of mini tour guide around Rome when we went into the ports in Italy. US borders are totally open now. We use Yandex Maps for Yandex food delivery, Yandex taxis. Yandex is pretty much the main browser that people use, and the maps for walking or in a car. Moscow Metro is going to go up in price in a couple of days' time. It's 50. Is it 54 rubles? 57 rubles, I think it's going to go up to, or 56. That's if you've got the Troika card. I don't have mine on my desk. I put it in my bag now. But I think the one-time ticket is about 70 rubles. Moscow is not 2 cents. It's like 50 cents. Yeah, they're going to put it up a couple of rubles. They've done it a couple of times in the last 2 years. I think it's in the next 2 days they're changing the price. But I use the Troika card, and then you can just add. You can top up that, or you can get a 7-day or 30-day or 1 year, I guess, unlimited transport with that. Yes, the US borders were never closed. Okay. Do you think people see Russia as part of the European continent? Pete, that's a forever question. That when I say, the largest in Europe this, the largest in Europe that, people correct me and say that Russia's not in Europe. So I think it's a forever thing that one person has one opinion, another person has another opinion. So I guess that's up to everybody's individual thing, because there's a lot of, when I Google somewhere about going to a certain location, they'll always say it's the largest indoor, like the theme park video I made at Dream Island, the largest indoor theme park in Europe, or the largest building in Europe. So I take it for what it is, but some people say that Russia's not in Europe, and then I guess people in Asia say, Russia's not in Asia. If they allow videos and filming, pass for access. Do not allow it. Yes, they want people to pay for access. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing with things like museums and even some churches as well. They don't allow filming. People still do it, because they just, I'm going to say some people are not polite about the way they film things. Follow Sky, hello. Yeah, I was going to go and try to go to the Park Patriot, which has got the very famous, well-known military church in Moscow, or Moscow region. Actually, I can see the tip of the church off in the distance from our window, because it's in this region where I live. Have you been to Bunker 42? I haven't, no. So many other people have, that I've watched enough videos about it that I aren't that bothered to go. To see a bunker underground and things like that. I mean, I know there's I think there's 3 or 4 of them in Moscow that you can go to. I did a friend, an Australian friend who lives in St. Petersburg, contacted them and didn't get anything back about going to get press tickets to go film there. So maybe we don't have the right connections between us. We always wonder why the eggs aren't refrigerated in Russia. It depends on the shop you go to. So some are, some aren't. Some are, some aren't. I guess it depends on space and things like that. You like the retail, restaurant, and apartment tours. Thank you, Linux. Thank you. The next video definitely, well, no. I've got one video that's unlisted at the moment. I went to a electronics convention. Actually, I went there a couple of weeks ago. But because I went and did other videos before that video came out, that kind of weighted down the list a little bit. So there will be an electronics convention video coming on the channel next, I think. Russian language, yes. I've not heard of Hercules supermarkets. I don't know this. Hercules Market, Moscow. It's a brand of instant oats. I'd have to look up the brand of the supermarket, so I don't seem to know about this one. Again, it's something you need to, if you know if there's a certain store in Moscow, put it in the Telegram chat, and then I can look it up. Oh, there you go. If the eggs are not washed, then they should not be in the freezer. Yeah, that's a good point. Many European countries where hens are vaccinated against salmonella. Yeah, probably a lot of them are non-GMO. That's probably why. You can't use MasterCard or Visa. Is it blocked there? So what can you use for transactions besides cash? So yeah, so when you come to Russia, you can't use any non-Russian cards in Russia. You can go to SberBank, S-B-E-R, SberBank, and open an account even as a tourist with your passport. And then you can get a card. They'll give you a temporary card on the spot. And then about 2 days or 3 days later, you can go back and get the actual card with your name on it. And then they'll actually put the app on your phone so you can use it for transactions or seeing your balance, I guess. And then bring cash and then just put cash on your card and use that. Yeah, things like booking things before you come is difficult too, because things like hotels.com is blocked, Expedia is blocked. They work, but then you can't put in Moscow or Russian addresses for things. I'll tell you, thanks. You could have told me yesterday, and if it was in Moscow, we could have gone. Again, it's always now. The match is right now. If you'd like to go, you could have gone. In Europe or Asia, yes. You can get Russian Mir card right away. Temporary Mir card on the spot, right. Well, I don't know about the Mir part, but I know, for instance, SberBank, you can just walk in. You want to get yourself a SIM card for your phone first, so that they can then send you like the PIN number to access the apps. SIM card, okay. You just have your passport to get a SIM card. You just go to any of the phone service providers, usually in the shopping centers. It's pretty straightforward. The one I've got is unlimited, so I'm not sure if there's ones that have got so many gigabytes or not. I think almost all of them here are unlimited, or it might include more or less like extra features. But the one I've got is unlimited internet. The one for my phone, and then our Wi-Fi for the apartment as well. In-house Wi-Fi, yes. There you go. I should read the chat. It's much easier. Any bank, you can open a card. There you go. Yeah, I think my phone bill, I think it's about $7 a month. 700 rubles. My wife just tops it up. It's a pay-as-you-go one as well, so you just put money on it every month, and there's a balance, and there's an app on my phone to see what the balance is for it, so it's pretty easy. Yeah, but the car, yeah, there were in-car cameras are mandatory because of the number of accidents and that. Exactly, yeah, the front and back cameras. Pretty much any car you see parked up in the street where I live here, or any car on the road, has the cameras, that they record for accidents and stuff. I don't know what the 3 wet letters are that you've typed, so I don't know what that is. It won't translate the letters. Jackie, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. And thank you, Red Ray. Sorry, 3 minutes ago I missed donation alerts because it's on the screen next to the screen. Hello, American. I'm Australian. Red Ray. I'm from Perth, Australia. Strength and love. Thank you so much for doing donation alerts. And Jackie and the others that did the super chats. Thank you. 3 minutes ago. I missed it. I was using bank Wi-Fi to set up the SberBank app. Yes, you can use, the bank. Actually, every time I go into my local bank, it asks me to connect to the Wi-Fi because I've got the Wi-Fi on when I'm at home here. Okay, Jackie, so you can see the sun blaring through the window. So we haven't got the curtains yet. My wife is now in the process of getting another person to come to put the curtain tracks up because we want to get a nice curtain track. There is already a curtain rod there, but she'd like nicer blackout curtains. Then we can literally close them now and it'd be black in the room, especially with this evening sun. It's 8 o'clock at night now, and it won't really get dark here till probably 10 p.m. So the curtains are still on hold. Well, they're in the process. Put it that way, Jackie. I'm leaving that part to my wife to do because she would be the one that would choose the colors of the curtains. So I just told her to make sure we just get at least a couple of quotes for the cost of installing the nice curtain tracks. The Bali trip, actually, my mum messaged me this morning asking if we've made plans about Bali yet. So my wife went to the dentist last week and she needs to go back again one day this week. I don't know what day. And to see if she needs to have a surgery or a dental treatments. I think they call them treatments, don't they? Or if she can put it off for a month and do it after the trip to Bali, because we need to be there for the 15th of June, which is my mum and dad's 50th wedding anniversary. So the curtains we will definitely get. We haven't got them yet. You can see the sun blinding through here now. The Bali trip I've not confirmed yet because it'll either be we'll go together if she's good to travel, because we don't want to go there and then she has problems with her teeth and then not have the local dentist in Moscow if we're in Bali, right? And if the worst comes to worst, I'll just go alone for probably 1 week or 2 weeks maximum and just stay with my parents the whole time. I'm not sure how fast my internet is. It's very fast. It allows me to do everything with two screens open and upload, download, watch streaming sport. I can watch. Last night I was watching the golf, and what else did I watch? I watched the football yesterday. There was a lot of Formula One was on yesterday, so I watched Formula One and the golf. Your T-Mobile bill is 125 a month. Jackie, in Australia, we were paying 150 Australian dollars for 2 phones and the home internet. It was like $50 for each one. Jen and I's phone, and then the home internet was 50. Here we're paying less than, well, it's about $7 for the phone SIM cards, and then I think it's maybe $7 or $8 for our home Wi-Fi. We use a local provider at the little small shopping center where we live. So it would be less than $26, $27 for all 3 of them. JM, hello. Yeah, big differences in price. $8 unlimited data. Yeah, this is in unlimited that we're using for the Wi-Fi here. That's why we connect our phones to it when we come home. But it doesn't really matter if I had it on or not. You deal with paperwork and stuff. How is the paperwork? Yes. Oh, I guess you're talking about Gostalugi, maybe. There's Gostalugi, and then there's we have a couple of different ones at the shopping center. And they keep telling us to do everything online. So I had to do the fan ID for the football tickets with the fan ID online, and then you actually have to go there for them to approve your fan ID. Yeah, it's as long as you have got the right documents and paperwork, it's very easy to use these multifunction centers. The minute you've got the wrong paperwork or you need different paperwork, or then it can be a hassle to go back twice. In Australia, everything is online. 99% of things that you need to do is online. And it's all electronic, even electronic signatures, electronic document processing. You do online applications for things. There's virtually nothing that's hard paperwork, unless you don't have a phone, don't have a computer, don't have this and that. You could go to an office to do things, but everything would be online style applications and processing. Far easier. I mean, in Russia, that's the thing, right? They've got one thing that's just amazing, and it's absolute technology. And then the next thing, it's like archaic 1980s still. Yes, you'd need an unlocked phone. Absolutely. Yeah, sure, Russian online shop, but I don't have a card. So I need to transfer money to a Russian bank. Can I do that in the bank? I guess you could. If you've got friends there, I mean, can you not just give them money and do it through them? If you live here, I don't know. Yeah, 100 megabytes a second is $6 unlimited. Yeah, I think everyone's got a little bit of a different price. I'm not sure about Mearshok, what that is, Russian online store. I mean, I know my wife uses Wildberries and Ozon, and it's just linked to her card to pay for it. So you missed the Formula One. Yeah, I just watch it. It's better on about once every 2 weeks. So I like to watch qualifying one day and then the race the next day. It's usually Saturdays or Sundays when they do it. So yes. Or you can do transfer the bank from supermarkets, right? Or you can, right? Well, that's a lot of tricky questions. Oh, okay, so unlimited WhatsApp and VK. I've got MTC is my SIM card. I know it's about 700 rubles because my wife just puts that amount on my card on my account. They send me a message that it's about to run out, and then she just tops it up, and it keeps working. I don't think you even need any money to open a bank account. It's completely free, right? You just need to go and open one, and then you add money to it later. You don't need to give them money to open the account. Yes, 10 minutes. Yes. Oh, people are answering the questions here. Correct. Yes, good fella. Thank you. Yeah, eSIMs, which is an electronic SIM card. Yeah, I know in Russia there's a lot of places where they give you the little SIM card and they open your phone. Like when we went to Bali and back, they took out my Russian one, put in the Bali one. And when I flew back, we changed it back again. It's a real pain because years ago, none of this existed now. Yeah, that's one thing that I think a lot of people like protested. What did they do? They didn't go to the games kind of in protest of the whole fan ID situation. I mean, going back to the World Cup, they had the fan IDs in place. Is that a different color? That's better, I think, is it? Yeah, I don't like it either, but I guess it's just a security thing. I mean, at the end of the day, by the time you even get to the stadium gate, you've been picked up by the CCTV everywhere anyway. So they already know you and know who you are and what you're doing. So it's not really anything new. Holy, granted, I am paying for unlimited data and all of the. Yeah, so we've just got normal plug-in cable television here to just the antenna television. In the place we were renting before, the owner had like a set-top box where you had a bunch of stations. My wife and I, between us, don't watch enough television really to worry about paying for a monthly TV subscription. I know she's got one for movies called Evie. And she only pays about $3 a month for that one for Evie movies. So when she wants to watch a movie, she just put that app on. It's an app on the TV that you can open to get to that. So yeah, all these sports and HBOs, you can get them here. I don't know what the prices are for them, but it's not nearly how much you're paying, Jackie, though. Yes. Well, yeah, WhatsApp works completely. Instagram, you'd need a VPN. Same with Facebook. Same with Twitter. All of these are all not allowed in Russia. So yeah, you need to use another app to get that app to work. And then a lot of websites aren't working in Russia either. So it's quite random where you'll find that happens though. So like one of the football score websites doesn't open, but then the next one does. Like one of the Australian supermarkets doesn't open here, then the other one does. Yeah, VK is the other one. Yeah, the Russian. VK is the Russian Facebook. So in Australia we were using, or we didn't have Foxtel. My parents have Foxtel, and then you can actually add like sport, movies, lifestyle. I don't know, all these different options to the package. My mum and dad were paying. I think they still pay about 60. It's probably nearly $70 a month, depending on which. If you want the full package with all the movies, with all the sport channels, you can pay about $80 to $100 a month now. So about 4,000 to 6,000 rubles a month would be the Australian dollar to US dollar to the ruble comparison. Yeah, when Jen and I were in Australia, we didn't have Foxtel because I watched YouTube a lot. So, and then if I really wanted to watch sport, like where it wasn't on live free to air television, I'd go around to my parents' house or a friend's house and watch it there. Yes, McDonald's. Well, McDonald's is Kuznetochka. KFC is Rustics. Same price. It's similar to Bali. It's pretty cheap compared to. Yes, I would say the Bali McDonald's and KFC, and the Russian pricing is quite similar. Yeah, in Australia it is expensive. In Moscow it's very cheap or reasonable. Let's call it. I mean, the problem is when you say something's cheap here to the next person, it's not, because it's based on people's salary and whether it's a luxury or not. I mean, not everybody goes to takeaway places and fast food places. People buy food and then cook and eat at home. I mean, even we don't get takeaway food all the time. In the town we have here, we've only got a KFC, and then there's a pizza place, and there's one restaurant. So it's just as nice and easy to make homemade food, or my wife cooks. So oh, there you go. So Moscow from Rostelcom, 200 gigabytes plus TV plus Win TV, movies, and cell phone. It's 900 rubles. There you go. So $10 a month for everything. I mean, Sergey, I know for my wife and I, we just don't watch TV enough to warrant paying for the extra things for the television. When we moved in here, I literally carried the TV down from our rented apartment to this place, and I plugged the antenna socket. There's obviously some sort of antenna on the roof, and the TV stations worked. And we were shocked. We were happy that we didn't need to do anything extra to just get the normal, classic Russian TV stations on there, like the news and whatever TV channels. Nice to see your nice wallpaper. Yeah, well, we want to get different wallpaper. This is not the final one. This one is fine. Well, it's a little bit yellow and bright now because of the sun coming through. That's the one thing we do want to change here as well. That's the next one after the curtains. So it's curtains first and then wallpaper. CSKA scored again. Yeah, actually yesterday I watched the football, Man City match. That's what I watched as well in the afternoon. Was the football. It was kind of the Formula One, then the football, then the golf. I like to watch live sport when I can. So how much is KFC in Russia? How much do you pay for a meal when you have? I don't think I've even had a breakfast out in Moscow. My wife definitely doesn't like any of that. She eats stuff at home. I don't know. When I get delivery, it costs me. I get the delivery from the KFC where the guy brings on his push bike here. And I don't think I've ever paid more than 600 or 800 rubles. And that's for, I don't know, chicken, wings, fries, chicken nuggets, whatever you get, like the little packages. They've only got chicken wings and drumsticks here. There's no thigh and breast pieces when you get KFC. It's just chicken legs or chicken wings. That's it. And then lots of different sandwiches and burgers, I guess. Yeah, not everybody likes KFC or Rostix, depending on where you are. KFC is still in our town because the franchise agreement's not expired for them to change over to Rostix. They replace the fry oil every 2 months. I don't know. I have it nearly as often as I used to. I used to get takeaway food more. I get it far, far less now than I ever had in the past. And even if we go somewhere to eat a meal, we'll go to a kind of a cafe where they've got more like homemade kind of food than, traditional fast food, as you'd call it. So thank you, David, for posting about the chat. If anyone wants to ask any general questions like all of this in the chat, there's a lot of people who are from other countries and a lot of Russians that are in my chat as well, who are incredibly knowledgeable about anything and can quote their situation, as an answer. Yeah, actually, going back to the wallpaper thing, the two guys that did my wife's nail salon downstairs, we had that done about 3 or 4 months ago now. 4 months ago. My wife bumped into him just by chance because he lives, I guess, in one of the buildings where we live here. And he was going to get back to her with a price. I said, didn't you want to bring him to the apartment to look at, so we can measure up? And he's like, no, he can just go off the size of the apartment for the price to get the wallpapering done. So we basically buy the wallpaper and the supplies, and he just comes and removes it and reinstalls it. What were your biggest culture shocks? Not a lot of things. I was working on cruise ships for nearly 20 years and traveled to so many ports around the world, and lived on a cruise ship and traveled to many places, that going to somewhere new, you didn't really have that culture shock as much because you'd been to, like, on a 7-day cruise, you'd go to Jamaica, Mexico, Grand Cayman. On another cruise, you might go to the Virgin Islands, you might go to Bermuda, Bahamas, wherever, Alaska. And the crew members just treat it as another day of the week. So there's not really that culture shock. Whereas a guest going on a cruise who have lived in a city in America, then go on a cruise and you wake up one day, you're in Jamaica, you wake up the next day, you're in Mexico. It's a culture shock. So for me, coming here, it wasn't as much of that in my head. I'm pretty easygoing, laid back, no worries. And that's probably just the Australian in me that comes out, that, it doesn't really, I don't really think about things as much, anymore, that it's a culture shock. Like if I was to go to David's house in Italy, I would be wowed by Italy as a country and, all of the differences, if you call it that. But the end of the day, you know, we still eat and cook in the same kitchen. We still use the same bathroom. We still, you know, have a beer at the end of the day or a glass of wine like you do in Italy. And, you know, there's just, you know, there's certain things that are different, but not really, you know. I guess culture, I guess the weather, I guess that's, you know, the fact, you know, there's obviously considerable weather differences between Australia and Russia. That's very apparent. Here you've got 4 seasons of weather. And in Australia, in Perth particularly, you don't necessarily even have, I would say, winter and summer. But the winter in Australia is very mild compared to Russian winters. So I guess that's something, you know, but the difference is here, though, you've got the right clothes for us. You've got a certain winter jacket, you've got winter shoes, and then now it's summer, so I'm in shorts and I can wear, well, I probably can't quite wear flip-flops, but, you know, you'd wear different shoes for autumn and summer. You know, I guess the amount of food here, I mean, having worked in supermarkets, I can walk. I mean, I went to the food market today, you know, and the choices of food is just crazy. And this isn't a town, you know, it's not Moscow. There's probably less choices of food in Moscow center than there is once you come out to the suburbs. The amount of different food options immediately where I live here is insane. You know, we don't really have restaurants because people eat at home. They buy food and cook and eat it at home. That's why we've got one restaurant in our entire town. That's why we've only got 1 or 2 takeaways, because people don't really use them. You know, of course, kids still want things like this. You can go to the shopping center, like where my wife is traveling home through, and there's the food court there. You can still get everything there. Freedoms and less regulations and stupid laws. Yeah, that's the polite way of saying it. Yes, that's good, fella. Thank you. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, there is a police system here, there is a military system here, like there is in Australia, right? I mean, if you're doing the wrong thing, you're going to get caught, stopped, arrested, jailed, and things like that. I mean, the process of something, if you do something wrong, is a lot quicker here because they've got a more efficient system in place. You know, so if you've done something wrong, you will go to jail, you will spend time in jail, and that's it. Whereas in Australia, you get slap on the wrist. You know, you get 3 strikes before you might have to go to jail. There's a lot of technicalities that you can get off on. So it's, you know, it's correct. More freedoms, less regulations, and I mean, there is stupid laws here, if you want to call it that. But I wouldn't say any law, you know, it's hard to say like that because, you know, it's not really. No, okay. I won't say any more there. So, not so cheap and high speed throughout Russia. Moscow is a separate state. Well, we had Wi-Fi in Ufa, where my wife's from originally, and it worked perfectly fine there. I mean, okay, that's still a city with 1 million people, but I mean, the internet and the Wi-Fi and phone signal works fine even in regional areas. I guess depending on where you live. I like that Moscow gives a lot of European vibes. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah, I mean, if I compare, Australia is not nearly as old as Europe or Russia as a country. Australia is only 240 years old, 30 years old, you know, in terms of when Australia was first settled and so on. So that's huge differences. You know, we don't have nearly, I mean, even if I talk about statues and monuments, we don't have nearly as many in Australia as they have here in Russia. Is there any moderators? Yes, there is. Vitali might be here, but I definitely see David here. Yes, there is definitely a couple of moderators here. The only difference in Indonesia is you don't. Well, I guess you can get in unlimited internet, but it's basically a gigabyte top up. Because when I came, I have the SIM card that I've used the last 2 Bali trips, and you just got to add more gigabytes to your account. But actually, I didn't even use nearly any of it when I was there anyway. So, well, now people are writing in Russian, and I can't read it. I haven't seen 2 cops for 2 months in Moscow. They're around. You see them on the highways. You see them on the roads. You see, if you walk in the center, particularly, or through the main parts of the center of Moscow, you see plenty of police and well, I wouldn't say military. It's more like security, but that's normal anyway because of the buildings and the certain places and the certain whatever government buildings are there. If you've got a tripod, yes, it looks a lot more obvious. I'm using a very small. Where is it? Right here. This is my camera now that I'm using, the DJI, which is very small and inconspicuous. It'll switch off now and go to sleep. So yeah, I don't use a tripod. I was using just a little mini tripod. Most people stare at you because they hear English. They don't hear Russian. So it basically makes them turn their head because they hear another language spoken. And that's all, really. They don't care otherwise. Yeah, a lot of people are doing photos and selfies and stuff like that. Oh, David, hello. How did the language process go if you tried? It went fine. I mean, for the visa, the process you've got to go through is the English or Russian language. You just have to kind of know what's going to happen when you go for that test. That's all. And I knew ahead of time. I didn't pass the first time. It took me 3 times to pass. And I think by then the lady felt sorry for me because I was probably more nervous than I was able to say and answer the questions they asked me. Tripods are very bulky. Yes, you don't need a tripod. We think that they are famous, and it comes out. It comes out true 99% of the time. I don't know about that, but actually, yes. When I was leaving the Tesla place the other day, I met a channel subscriber. I was walking back to the metro station, to Kutuzskaya metro station, and then I realized across the highway, there was a little small supermarket there, Magnolia, which I've done a video in. And I went to get a drink, and just as I was going down the underpass again, there was a guy coming up the underpass with rollerblades on. And he's like, "Oh, Russell, wow." And he was like in shock when he saw me. He's like, "What's the chances of me walking up and down that underpass and you and I bumping into each other?" And then for some reason, the girl came up to us and said, "Oh, I heard you're speaking English. I've just finished work and I've been speaking Russian all day. And I'd like to hear someone speaking English." And she just stood there and listened to us talking, which was a little bit strange. And then he told her in Russian that, that he knew me from YouTube. Yeah, I don't think all the English-speaking people are famous, but you never know. Hello. Okay, everybody, we're coming up to 2 hours, which means we're going to come to the end of the live stream. Okay. I don't really drink beer that often, so I just tend to just buy, or if I'm drinking with somebody else, it's whatever they've got and whatever they pour. I tend to like draft beer or beer in a glass. I don't like drinking beer from a can. And if I drink beer, I would just drink it out of a bottle. And I'm not really that bothered. Any lager beer doesn't really bother me. If I go to a place, a cafe or somewhere, I'll just get whatever their house beer is. The people mind taking a picture of you. If you taking pictures of them, most people don't like it. It's polite to ask, Videos, obviously, it's a little bit more general if I'm filming a whole place. So I'd have to have my tripod as my safety net. I guess, yeah, I mean, you rarely see someone with a tripod in Moscow unless they're filming something seriously or they're proper photographers wanting to do some kind of a time lapse or hyperlapse video. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to sign off in the next 5 minutes. So if you want to do donation alerts or super chats, you've got 5 minutes to get them in. If anyone wants to do that, of course, that's up to you. Red Ray, thank you so much. Peter, thank you. Jackie, thank you. No Left Turns, thank you. Russell is a Coca-Cola expert. Yes, I've actually got a video that I did last year where I went looking for different Coca-Colas from different countries. I could probably do it a little bit easier now because you see it more frequently in other supermarkets now. More Coca-Colas are kind of sneaking in every supermarket. Benz, I've never seen such a poverty in a developed country. Okay. I guess that's an opinion. I guess it's what you're used to once you live here long enough. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a poverty of, a lot of people live a normal, happy life here. And I think that's very misunderstood that, people don't need a lot to be happy. And there isn't a lot of, not necessarily everybody is materialistic and want everything, I guess there still is people like that. But, not everybody wants everything all the time. El Fuego in Seattle, hello. Esabia, thank you. I don't know about S. I would not know the names of the labels if I went in there twice to remember them. We've got Krasnobile downstairs, and if the worst comes to worst, I'll just buy Stella Artois, which is the one I was drinking on the cruise ship for so long. I went to it twice. That's the one at Vedenha, I think, Museum of Cosmonauts. You come out of Vedenha metro station. As you walk towards Vedenha, it's on the left-hand side. Been there. It's pretty cool. The only thing is a lot of it's in Russian. So it's not really designed for tourists in terms of having English and Russian signage. They might have improved things. I was there more than a year ago now. But a lot of the places you go to have predominantly Russian signage because it's a Russian-speaking country. It's a pretty cool museum to go to because they've got a lot of exhibits and they've got a lot of real things from the Russian space program there. And there's a lot of emphasis also on the Mir space station and then the ISS space station as well. Yeah, you can pretty much do quite a lot of time there. And then Vedenha is the main park immediately near it. So I don't really have a problem, honestly and truly, Foxes. You'll get people who just turn their head around. I mean, I can see people when they're looking and staring and things like that, and I don't let it worry me. I just keep doing what I'm doing and keep filming. It doesn't bother me that most people are just curious about the fact that I'm speaking English and maybe what I'm showing or why I'm showing it. Like when I went to the supermarket and did the supermarket opening video there, you saw people coming in. I think, a lot of people recognize that I'm making a video, so they were waving and smiling and things like that. The previous store that I went to, I didn't film the video in, but I went outside before we opened the store and I, said that it was going to open like 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. And I explained that I'm from Moscow. I'm from Australia. I came to help with the opening. And the people were all like so happy and smiling and more curious that I'd come to their town, which was, 300 or 400 kilometers from Moscow, right? So I'll try to do some walking videos. That's really good. Thank you, Choi. It can be crowded if you go on weekends. Definitely, if you go on the weekends. If you go midweek on a working day, on a school day, it's fine. I don't think you'd have a problem taking a tripod in. It's just bulky to carry. It's probably more of an inconvenience for you to carry a tripod than it is. Most people just take all the photos on their phones these days. You don't see too many people with full camera equipment when you see them around. Have you been to an eye doctor? I haven't. No, I need to. My wife suggested that I go and look into getting the LASIK surgery. $30. There you go. I'm not sure what the price is for the tickets. I'm pretty sure you could just Google it. And the website, if you're using a desktop, it should translate from Russian to English. I reckon it wouldn't be more than 500 or 800 rubles to get in. So $5, or even if it's 1,000 rubles, that sounds like a lot, which would be $10. I think it would be less than $10 for a ticket to go there. Thank you, Foxes. Thank you, everybody. 2 hours. What do I think about Moscow traffic? It can be. I don't have a car, so I only ever end up in traffic when I'm either catching a bus or in someone else's car. Traffic can be pretty hectic, yes, particularly when you get close to the center of Moscow. You can easily traffic jam around the places, and then if they close a road for some kind of event and things, it can get worse. Thank you, Anatoly. Interesting stream. 10 times higher than Samara. Well, there you go. I mean, I just probably consider it compared to the price of something in Australia, which is considerably cheaper. So I really, if something's 500 rubles or 700 rubles, $5 or $7 is cheap compared to other countries. But like you say, if you're comparing it to other regions of Russia, then it's what it is. Raskazovka. Lisa with love. I've heard of her. Scott, yes. I've seen a couple of her videos. And Raskazovka is not far from me. I'm in a Prelivka. So yeah, we're not too far away from each other. I'm not sure where she lives in Moscow, though. I'm trying to pay attention sometimes where she's catching the metro to and from, because that's normally where people start or end their filming, right? So thank you, Foxes. Cheers. Thank you, Illy. Thank you. You are the channel YouTube I go to see Russian reference. Thanks, Choi. Yeah, there's other people who make videos as well. I just tend to vary my content a little. So, Sailor, thank you so much. Again, thank you to anybody that's done a super chat or super sticker. A huge thank you for anybody who's done a like as well. 132 likes with 60 people watching. That's pretty cool, and without too much planning of the live stream as well. Thank you to people who did donation alerts. There's always the link in the description if anyone ever wants to do any of that donating to the channel. The money doesn't go to buying jewelry and watches and diamonds and things like that. It goes to things like making the videos, paying for public transport, paying for my lunch when I go out to make a video. It's as simple as that. I'm not using it for anything otherwise, really and truly. It's I don't need things in my life really like that. It's just no diamonds. My wife would like diamonds. Is there nights at the museum in Australia? I don't know. I think we have them. In Perth, they've got a new museum in the center of Perth, but I didn't ever get to go to it. She lives by Delavoye Center. There you go. But she's always filming in like an old babushka, like Krashovka. But there's not too many of them by Delavoye Center, so unless she gets the metro into there and goes off somewhere else. Delavoye Center is right where the Moscow city is. It doesn't feel like she lives in that area, but maybe she does. India, thank you. When will it be on next stream? Foxes, normally I do them on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. But this week, I could probably do another one later in the week. I guess I should just schedule them a little bit better. That's my worst and only downfall of the channel, is my bad scheduling of live streams. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for for Brian the Truth. Well, saying the truth. You're great. You're welcome. Artem, thank you. Foxes, thank you. Thanks, everybody. David, if you're still watching, thanks for being a great, what do you call this? Administrator? What is it called on YouTube when you're like blocking people and stuff? And also, you're hugely in the Telegram chat. So if anyone wants to join us on Telegram, Traveling with Russell channel or chat, and I'll be there. And if you want to comment on this video after it ends, you're welcome to. Yeah, if you haven't seen any of the last 3 or 4 videos, check them out. And I'm going to end the stream. Oh, where's the mouse? I've got the 2 monitors on a different height because of the live stream. I lower down the monitor, so the camera is more at my eye level. And then it's hard to get the mouse over to the other screen. So you can see how dark it is now. The lights have come on a little bit. So yeah, thanks everybody. I'll see you in another live stream. And as I always say at the end of every video, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.